For 3 centuries, the armor had remained dormant in the Galactic Council's most secure vault. It gleamed beneath the sterile lights, its obsidian surface reflecting nothing observable. Scientists from 17 different species had attempted to activate it. Engineers from 34 worlds had tried to understand its mechanisms. All had failed. Another unsuccessful attempt, Director Varric announced, his 4 eyes blinking in different patterns of frustration. The gray-skinned administrator gestured toward the latest victim, an unconscious Tulaxian warrior whose vital signs were rapidly declining after merely touching the chest plate. That's the 73rd attempt. This artifact remains as hostile as when we discovered it. The armor had been found in the ruins of a civilization that had mysteriously vanished from the galactic stage millennia ago. The civilization that created it, the precursors, had left behind only fragments of their legacy, this suit being the most intact specimen ever recovered. "Director, the Council is growing impatient," said Commander Lox, her tentacles twitching nervously. "They want results. The military applications alone." "I'm aware," Varric snapped. "But how can we utilize something that kills or rejects everyone who touches it?" The room fell silent as medical drones rushed to stabilize the Tulaxian. The warrior would live, but like the 72 before him, he would bear scars, physical and psychological, from the rejection. "There's still one option we haven't tried," said Dr. Mira, the chief xenobiologist. Her bony ridges flushed blue with excitement. "The primitives from Sol 3. Humans." Varric scoffed. "They've barely achieved interstellar travel. What could those fragile creatures accomplish where the Council's finest have failed? According to my analysis, their neural patterns show unique similarities to fragmentary precursor data," Mira insisted. "Plus, they're the only known carbon-based oxygen breathers with that specific genetic structure we haven't tested." Commander Lox's eyes narrowed. "The humans haven't even been formally admitted to the Galactic Council. Using them for this would violate protocols. We could call it a diplomatic opportunity," Dr. Mira suggested. 3 weeks later, Jack Miller stood before the armor, his heart hammering in his chest. As an ex-military pilot turned diplomatic liaison, he had never expected his first assignment to involve potentially lethal ancient technology. "You understand the risks, Mr. Miller?" Varric asked, keeping a safe distance. Jack nodded, studying the armor. It was beautiful in its simplicity, no visible seams, just flowing black material that seemed both solid and somehow fluid. "Your records indicate it's killed people." "Not killed," Dr. Mira corrected quickly. "Rejected, sometimes violently." "Right," Jack muttered. "Very reassuring." He took a deep breath and reached out. The room's atmosphere was tense. Medical drones hovered nearby, ready to intervene. Jack's fingertips touched the surface of the chest plate. The armor was warm, not cold as metal should be, but warm like living tissue. For a moment, nothing else happened. Then a ripple passed through the material. The scientists gasped collectively as the armor seemed to melt, flowing up Jack's arm in a stream of liquid darkness. He stood paralyzed, not in fear or pain, but in awe at the sensation. "It's scanning me," he whispered. The liquid enveloped him completely, from feet to neck, conforming perfectly to his body. For a heartbeat, the room was silent. Then a soft hum emanated from the armor as lines of blue energy appeared, tracing patterns across its surface. "Impossible," Varric breathed. Jack flexed his fingers, feeling no restriction from the armor. It moved with him as if it were a second skin. "It feels like it's happy." Dr. Mira approached cautiously, scanner in hand. "The armor is interfacing directly with your nervous system. It's actually optimizing your cellular functions. Your vitals are improving." Jack closed his eyes, sensing something at the edge of his consciousness, a presence, ancient and curious. Not words exactly, but impressions, recognition, acceptance. "I think I understand now," Jack said slowly. "It wasn't rejecting the others. It was waiting. Waiting for what?" Commander Lox demanded. "For us. For humans." Jack opened his eyes. "We're their descendants, aren't we? The precursors. They seeded Earth, or interbred with our ancestors, or something. That's why it recognizes me." Dr. Mira's scanner beeped rapidly. The genetic markers is possible. The compatibility is extraordinary. Jack moved across the room, marveling at how the armor enhanced every motion. He felt stronger, faster, more aware. It's not just armor, it's a key. As if responding to his realization, the armor's chest plate began to glow. Symbols appeared, projected into the air. Star charts, coordinates. It's giving us a map, Dr. Mira whispered. To what? Varric asked. Jack knew the answer instinctively, information flowing from the armor directly into his mind. Home. Their home. Our ancestral home. Within months, a joint expedition was launched. The coordinates led to a hidden system, unremarkable except for a small rocky planet that appeared barren from orbit. But when Jack, wearing the armor, set foot on its surface, the ground responded. Ancient machinery, dormant for millennia, hummed to life. Doors opened in mountainsides. Lights flickered on in underground cities. And more armor, thousands of suits, waited in silent chambers. The armor hadn't rejected the aliens out of malice. It had been protecting itself, waiting for the return of its creator's descendants, humans, the only species capable of reclaiming the precursor legacy, taking their place among the stars not as newcomers, but as returning children. As Jack stood in the ancient hall, surrounded by the heritage of a civilization that had seeded humanity across the stars, he smiled. The galaxy would never be the same again.